The doctors came in and told me that I had the breast cancer, and I was all by myself, and that was like one of the scariest things I've ever heard. I never knew what it was like to hear bad news like that, and now I know. I'm one of those people that I never thought it would happen to me, but it did.
I went for a routine mammogram and found out that I had a very large tumor. As we did scans, we discovered spots in my lungs that were very suspicious. And so the assumption was that yes, I had lung metastases, making me stage 4.
When the call came in from Kathy's number without Kathy's voice, I was pretty concerned. And so the doctor got on the phone and said, "Your wife has cancer." It was very difficult. I don't even remember what the first thought was. And you think the worst.
I knew my husband would be my rock for it. It was hard to tell him, but I knew just telling my kids was going to be the scariest thing for me.
They were too scared to ask, is Mommy going to live?
The first thing I thought of when they told me that it was a large cancerous tumor was my family. I went to the park and cried and called my best friend and figured out how in the heck I was going to go home and tell my 5, 10, and 13-year-old boys and my husband.
We had relatively young kids, and thinking about how to explain it to them, we decided that we were going to be straight up about it.
There was an understanding that we were there for each other, even if it is sometimes hard to discuss it or make sense of it.
They had a lot of questions. Was I going to lose my hair? And that's always the question that the kids want to know, because you just look different. You know, anyone that has cancer looks different.
Learning that she actually had to go through chemo was not something that when we went into the surgery, we were prepared for. So when she woke up, I had to tell her, and that was tough. Because she also had assumed that, hey, it's early. And we, I think both were sort of in denial.
It did cross my mind that I might not live through this disease. I knew it was stage 4, and I knew I was young, and I knew it was aggressive. And that was the scariest time, was right post-diagnosis.
The thought that I might lose her crosses my mind all the time for 13 and a half years.
Knowing how the chemo was going to affect her was scary. When we first went into the treatment center, Kathy looks great. And then you see people walking around who are hooked up to the chemo bags who have no hair and don't look healthy.
In 2009, things began to grow and tumor markers went up. That's kind of when I started the marathon of chemo. Towards the last few months of that marathon, I was struggling just to get by daily.
I was lucky because I only had to do adriamycin and Cytoxan. Those are all drugs that were funded by the Komen Foundation. It's so important to help fund these medications that people can take that can really help.
I cried happy tears for days. I have never been so elated. My quality of life is 85% better than it was in January. I am enjoying life, having fun, have energy. It's unbelievable. And if not for Kadcyla and not for the research that I know Komen has been involved with, I think I would have a very different scenario going on right now. So I'm elated. I've had the best 6 months now that I have had in years, literally in years.
I know that Komen has done an excellent job in supporting women and the fight for breast cancer from the earliest stages, from the bench top all the way out to the support programs that are needed. Many of the drugs that we give today in our programs really depend on research organizations like Komen to fund some of these most difficult projects that otherwise may not be funded.
This experience with breast cancer has brought me closer to my family, first of all. I just don't take anything for granted. If I find the littlest thing wrong, I go get it checked out. You just have to be an advocate for yourself and for others. If you hear anyone saying, oh, I have a lump, I probably need to go check that. You need to force that issue with someone because it's so, so important.
The 3 words I would use to describe my mom would be determined, courageous, and then strong.
I'd say physically and mentally tough. She thinks she's really funny, so I'd say funny, otherwise she'd kill me. I guess the third one would be selfless.
3 words I'd use to describe her. First, I would say caring, strong, and faith.
I can't think of 3 words to sum up my mom. She's my mom. You know, it's what she's always wanted to be, and she hasn't let cancer stop her from doing that.